he kind of just bluntly told me, he's like, you need to kind of hold auditions and see if there are people out there. There are people out there, and you just need to look. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's Mike. And this week, I am going to be talking about how I cast my first feature, They Are Mine, with no budget. So I'm going to walk through the process of how this came to be. Up until this point, the way I've been casting my films is really just using friends and people that I knew that would do me the favor of being in my film. I reached the point where I wanted to make this feature, and I was heading in the same direction of casting with my friends and anyone who would be in the film. And I was begging friends and people that weren't even actors to be in this film. Eventually I got it all cast out with people that were not really actors, but I was moving forward with the process. I was driven to make the movie, and I had cast a few people in the film that had acting experience. That would be Paul and Jade. Paul played the principal, and Jade, his wife, played the main villain in the story, Mommy. And their kids also were in the film as well. They were kind of like a theater family. Like, they had a background in acting. They had been in LA and kind of been through, auditions and that whole process, and were familiar with it. And up until this point, I had just kind of been acting with my friends and trying to make stuff. And so they had also helped me in other short films that I've done. We had some familiarity working together. So I had filmed some rehearsals with my friend actors at the time, and I remember showing Paul some of these rehearsals, and he kind of just bluntly told me, he's like, you need to kind of hold auditions and see if there are people out there. There are people out there, and you just need to look. It's not what I wanted to hear at the time, and I was a little scared and intimidated to kind of do that process because I hadn't done it. And sometimes I kind of fall back on, I'll just do it myself, or I'll just make this work, when I really kind of need to push through into the next step and get out of my comfort zone. I set up auditions there was a local media center that I rented the space for, and set up auditions for a certain date. So I set up auditions and got flyers made, and I was putting them out. I was looking for people and trying to invite people to auditions. I didn't really know how to go about that, but I think Paul mentioned to me, reach out to the community college, and they knew a teacher teaching theater classes there. So I emailed the theater teacher and I said, hey, I'm making this feature film, and I'm looking for actors that are teenagers to be in my film. Do you know of any that would be interested? And she said, yeah, I do, actually. I would love for you to come to speak to my class about it. And so again, that was something I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go speak in front of the class. I don't love public speaking, especially it's just like having to do a homework assignment or class presentation. But at least for this time, it was something that I cared about and I was really determined to do. I practiced for the speech. I actually found a recording from over 10 years ago of me practicing the speech, so we can listen to a little bit of that and hear how that sounds.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Hull. I'm from Chatham, and I'm a filmmaker, a local filmmaker. I've been making short films for probably the last 3 years. So I have some experience. But I think I've reached the point where I want to make a full-length movie. I'm going to make a full-length movie. But I need actors. This is why I'm here. I need actors. I'm looking for collaborators. People that want to work with me, and kind of Thursday from 6 to 8, and Saturday 3 to 5, and it's going to be held at the Cape Cod Media Center, which is at Dennisport, and it's right off 28. If you email me a headshot and your resume, I can kind of figure out which character would be the best fit for you to read for, so I can email you the size.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. I sound almost more confident than I do now. But there's a little bit of this posturing, obviously, because I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't even know what sides were up until this point. Paul had to tell me what sides were. So yeah, but fucking I did it, and I went to the class, I spoke, and the auditions happened, and people did show up from the class. I did have a good amount of people that came, and I found my main core cast of 4 teenagers to be in the movie, and it was awesome. They were great. They fit those roles well. it was also good because they all had a theater class together, so they already kind of had their own chemistry working. So they were comfortable with each other. And luckily, Paul and Jade, like I said, they had been through auditioning process. They had auditioned as actors and they had worked in theater, so they knew how to audition people. So they helped me audition the actors as they came in, and if we really liked one of the actors, we would have them read with someone else. And then, sometimes we would switch their roles and see how they did as another role. And, a classic thing is just giving them some direction and then also just giving them a piece of different direction, just giving them a note and seeing how well they can adjust to different direction than the initial one and seeing how flexible they are. Those are kind of some things I learned, and yeah, it's suddenly like it did start feeling like a movie. Like I had characters and people that are actually interested in acting and were practicing and studying the craft. So it was super inspiring, and it pushed me to a new level of professionalism. Still working on it, but it did push me, and I'm glad that Paul said something to me. I guess on how did I pay them is another thing. It's like I didn't really pay them. I didn't pay these actors. I didn't really pay anyone that worked on the film. It was more of just people. I was making a feature film in this small community, and I was asking people if they wanted to come along for the ride and wanted to join the cause. Like, did you want to make a movie with me, or did you not? You don't have to. I mean, but we're gonna do it, and it's gonna be cool, and I'm gonna build these caves, and if you want to help out, like, we can make it happen, if you're interested in that. And a lot of the people were eager to be in a feature film and be in like a cool horror movie. It's not just you taking advantage or exploiting people. It's more of you're both benefiting from something and creating something together. It's like you are finding collaborators to build something together. That's what we did. Looking back, it's really not a huge deal to cast people. It's just like sometimes you can feel in your head that you don't have those options. Like you're not worthy, or you don't have enough money to pay someone, or they don't exist. But what I found out is like people are out there that do want to make stuff. And even in the small community that I lived in, you just need to be creative and think about where these people are and how to find them, and just be relentless about reaching out and setting it up. And even if you do fail, like, you keep searching to find those people, because when you do find the people, they help push and elevate your stuff, and they make it better. Instead of just doing everything yourself, which I fall back on, it's, get out of your comfort zone and find the people that are going to help make your stuff better, even if it's scary. Hopefully that helps. That's about it for this week. And thanks for listening. And we will next week. I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about, but follow along for more stories about filmmaking and how I made my first feature film. They are mine. Thanks.